What is the best way to tackle the opioid epidemic?
Well, I think what they're doing with the opioid epidemic here in Fredericton by offering services and stuff with clinics and all that is going to help it in the long run. And I see it bringing in a lot of people with the crisis, but it is helping them throughout the long run. I spent a lot of time over in that area this summer anyway, and I've seen it help a lot of people. And although a lot of people don't agree with it, I think it will help in the long run with it.
I think the underpinnings of society are facing challenges. I think certainly what was already a challenge before the pandemic in society, and there are many challenges, the pandemic simply highlighted. There's a shortage in the labor force. The opioid crisis is certainly intensified, along with other healthcare challenges. I think the very underpinnings of our society need to be challenged. The opioid crisis is simply a symptom of a culture that is facing challenges that we haven't addressed for years and years. So I think taking a look at our whole society is going to be the very first step at addressing the opioid crisis.
First and foremost, I think you need stuff like a lot more treatment programs, and things like, I think Insight in Vancouver is an amazing program, because in order to help people with the addictions, you want to be able to get them stabilized, but also to get them in around people who can help, right? The right services. So Insight, safe injection sites like that, community resources can be there as well, so that people can talk with them, to maybe access them if they're ready to finally try to get some help and to maybe change their life. So I think being progressive, the war on drugs obviously has failed several times over. Enforcement, even police will tell you it's not the way to go. So I think dealing with it with more compassion, stuff like Insight, I think seeing that come across the country would be good.
Oh, harm reduction. Yes, I believe that having safe injection sites, for example, where we would have like nurses and people on site in case someone overdose, and testing their product, opening the conversation so people can feel safe going somewhere and bringing their drugs, whatever that might be, to have it tested and use it, and also get the information about harm reduction and maybe how to not depend on it anymore. I think that would be the best way to do it.
To treat it like a health problem and not a crime problem, I think. I think we have to see these people not as criminals, but as people who just they suffer from some kind of health-related issue, and not to, come at it with like the idea of like criminal prosecution, and more so just like sympathy and open arms. And that'd be my opinion on it. I think Portugal is like a great example. Because at the end of the day, like, it's proven that it is actually a health problem. Like, addiction is like a mental illness, and it's not like these people are just deciding every day they want to go take certain drugs. It's a health issue. So I think if we approach it like that,
legalizing drugs probably is the only way it's ever going to be. It's just a huge problem, of course, and I don't know if that's the best way, but that's what I'm thinking anyway. Portugal's done it. A few other countries are looking at it, so I'm sure Canada will have to look at it as well.
I'm not an expert, but here we're, in Saskatoon here, organizations like Prairie Harm Reduction need more funding, need more support, and people need to recognize that, if you want those organizations to exist, or to, people to get the help that they need, then it's got to be in somebody's backyard. So we need to stop being so NIMBY about everything.
Tackling the roots issues of why people are having addictions. So poverty, the housing affordability crisis, mental health, especially reconciliation for people who went through, for example, residential schools, helping them with their trauma and healing.
Treating it as a public health issue rather than a criminal justice issue, right? And rolling out services and supports that way.
I think it is not being so quick to prescribe strong pain medication to patients, to give them alternatives, and at least let people know what they are being prescribed.
More attention to mental health, because a lot of these people, not all of them, but a lot of them are, because of mental health issues, that are doing that. You can't stop the flow. We tried, it doesn't work.
So I definitely work a little closer to this community. So I feel like having and again, this is obviously not a something that I should be speaking about totally about, but I think having safe injection sites for these people to safely get what they need would be important, especially for the people who are in need of this types of substances and rely on it, where they can get it safely and not have it tainted with other things that they don't know where it's from. So,
well, I think the conversation just needs to change. So right now, we see drugs, even now beyond cannabis, very stigmatized, very seen through a criminal lens. BC is making strides towards changing that conversation towards a more health-focused conversation rather than criminal, by getting special permission to decriminalize certain narcotics. And I think that should happen, personally, I think that should happen Canada-wide if we want to get these dangerous drugs off our streets, get them into safe places where those who do use them recreationally can have a safe, clean spot, supervised, where we know that they can receive the resources that they require to get off these drugs or to slowly wane off of them.